Hi, I'm Cindy with Bear Hollow Wood Carvers.
I'm Jason Emmons with Bear Hollow Wood Carvers, and I think today we're going to talk a little bit about how we got this whole thing started. I believe it was 2002. It's kind of when we're both from a sawmilling, logging background. Cindy's family owns a sawmill that we both worked at, and we were at an industry show down in Bowling Green, Kentucky, where they show sawmilling equipment and logging equipment and whatnot. But there was a chainsaw carver there. So instead of checking out all
the equipment and what we were supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I sat there and watched that chainsaw carver for like 2 or 3 hours. And then even after heading down there, talking to Cindy, I go, "Did you see that? Da, 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 da." I said, "I think I could probably do that." So real quick, she said, "Well, do it or don't," basically. Yeah.
Just like, let's go.
Quit talking about it. So I got online, I found a book. I think it was The Art of Chainsaw Carving by Hal McIntosh, which was good. It talked about, what bars and chains and type things that you needed to do your carving, and it had a lot of pictures, and I was flipping through the pictures. So I ordered the book. I went and found a chainsaw, and then found a little shop. I had to drive, it was about an hour from here, I think, that had a carving bar. Nobody else around here even knew what a carving bar was. So I found a shop, got the carving bar put on, and then I just wore that book out, literally copying pictures. It was to the point where the binding in the book was coming apart, so then we put it in a 3-ring binder with little paste protectors so they wouldn't blow across the field anymore. Yep. But yeah, I kind of tore into it, and I believe it was one day, and this, still working full time, obviously, just carving on the evenings and on the weekends. And I believe there was one weekend where you took the kiddos swimming, and I was going to stay home and work on a project.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. We got home and it was dark, and the lights shining up the driveway, bringing the kids home, and there's this bear. Jason standing out there with his bear. He got finished, and we were all pretty excited. It was pretty cool.
It was, it was like a bear. I could probably do it in an hour and 15 minutes now, but it took me like 8 hours to do it that day. It's an all day long project. But they did. They come home, and I couldn't wait for them to come home. I was excited with what we come up with. I go, holy crap. I mean, this is cool. I took a chainsaw and a chunk of wood, and I made a bear. And you could tell it's a bear.
Yeah.
So I'd been playing with carving for, I guess probably a couple months at the time. And, like at work, grabbing a chunk of wood after work on the weekends and whatnot, just finding time to mess with it. But my brother Buster had known I was tinkering around with the carving, and we had talked about it. And he was at an industry show. He's kind of in the outdoor power equipment world. He's in turf management and things like that. Well, he's at this show in Louisville, Kentucky, which is only about an hour and a half from here. And he said, "Man, there's a chainsaw carver here at this show. You need to get over here and check this thing out." I was like, "Oh, wow, cool." I said, "Well, as soon as I get off work, I'm going to head that way." And sure enough, I did. I took my little picture book.
Yeah. Had a little photo album of his work put together in a couple months.
That was I guess, really of the cell phone stuff, I guess. I think I had luckily if I had a flip phone, I guess, at that time. Yeah. But so I took my little picture book, and I jumped the truck, headed to Louisville. I was looking for the carver, and the carver was finished at the time, but he was still there packing his tools away. But that carver was Mark Culp, who is from California, who is a dear friend of ours to this day. And I don't think if there's a carver trying to start out, doing something like this and needed some advice, I don't think there could have been a better carver out there that could have been there for me or anyone else as far as giving that kind of advice and mentorship, I guess. But anyway, Mark said, he looked at my little scrapbook. He said, "Come on, guy, let me buy you hot dogs." So we went over, he bought me a hot dog. We sat there and ate the hot dog and looked at my scrapbook, and He goes, I believe you're ready. He said, there's a competition in Quincy, Illinois. Happened to be that following week. And he said, I'm going to fly back in and do that with some friends of mine, and you should come on out and check this thing out. So sure enough, I was excited all that week. Tried to carve up some inventory, pumpkins. I was doing some turkeys, I think, at the time, and a couple little bears, and a loaded pickup truck. At the time, I borrowed your dad's pickup truck or the company truck to drive to Quincy, and sure enough, found a spot. Had to register. It was all kind of brand new to me, and everybody's setting their tents up. And directly, I get to my spot, and they go, "Where's your tent?" And I go, "I didn't know you needed a tent to carve under." It was a whole brand new thing. So I met another carver who's another dear friend of ours, Sam Dunning from Kentucky, Western Kentucky, and he said, "I'll save your spot. Go find you a tent. I'll save your spot. I'll mark it off, then I'll set up beside you. And when you come back, you can set your tent up." So I came back. The only tent I could find was like at a hunting supply store, I think at a Cabela's or something like that. And so it had like 50 poles. I'm opening this big bag and everything, clang, 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 rattling on the ground. I'm sure everybody's like, "Oh, look at this new guy." But anyway, I got the tent set up and then tore into the weekend. And it was, man, it was adrenaline. It was a huge rush. I thought, for a while I was the only carver out there, just doing it at home by myself. And then you show up and there's like 50, 60 other carvers.
Phenomenal carvers.
Yeah, great carvers from all over the country out there doing some amazing work. I was so nervous, I just wanted to feel like I was doing my part. So I worked the whole time instead of like watching some of these great artists, figuring out their tricks or whatever and their tools. But what I did take home from that was I could see the quality and the amount of work they are able to do in the same amount of time I had. And I knew I had a long ways to go, but I was going to get there because I was bit by the bug. I ended up selling all my carvings. Came home with like $1,500 that weekend, and told Cindy, I go, "Man, I think there's something to this chainsaw carving thing." Yeah.
Yeah. Shortly after we opened our first retail store, and then it just kind of snowballed from there.
We had a little shop here in St. Croix, which isn't real far from the house here, the shop here, and just trying to figure it out, just trying to figure the whole thing out. It was definitely like a feast of famine. You get a nice big commission order or a big job or something like that, and you go, "Oh, thank goodness for that one. I hope there's another one coming." You just didn't know.
There was a lot to learn in the beginning, but we figured it out, and it was we both had well-paying full-time jobs that we finally got to the point where we're going, okay, if this thing's going to grow, we're going to have to step away from those and get this thing going. So that was a big leap of faith, pretty well.
Oh, it's terrifying. It was terrifying. Like you said, we both walked. I mean, we had built a home. We got 3 children at this time, trying to grow a family.
Still 3. It's just 3. Go ahead.
we still got them, so we done okay.
Yeah, we're doing good. We haven't lost any.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so yeah, it was absolutely terrifying, and it's the same process that we've seen over and over again with a lot of our friends. There comes a time where it goes from a part-time thing to a full-time thing. And that's with insurance and payments and everything else. That's terrifying because there's nobody to rely on but yourself. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a scary thing sometimes. So we had to hustle. Yeah. We figured out kind of in the beginning that we couldn't stay here and make this living work. We had to get out on the road. We had to do competitions. We had to get our name out there. We had to travel. We had to, be in front of folks. So that's kind of the route we took. There's a lot of sacrifice in that. But, I mean, there's sacrifices in life general, but that was
and a lot of joy with that, too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's the
fun.
rewards with the sacrifice. You stick it out there, We finally started getting some return on what we were doing, and it was wild. Yeah.
Yeah, and we learned too, I think, or with my business background, diversification was important. We needed the retail store, we needed to be able to travel to go to the shows, we needed on sites, we needed commission work. The more diversified you were, the easier it was going to be to, to weather those slower months or winter months. And we kind of headed in that direction.
Yeah, and it was, and it took every bit of it. It took every bit of it because once you started getting the on-sites coming in and commission orders, you could start managing your work that way along with fitting in the shows. So the next thing, you went from wondering when that next job was coming in to actually lining up the work. This is what's next. So it kind of changed dramatically over that time.
Our retail in that process, we moved it to French Lick, which was a tourist town. Great location for us. Our store is there today, and that was a good move. We went to where the people were instead of counting on the people coming to where we were.
Yeah, moving up French Lick was a heck of an opportunity. It's an opportunity that came at the right time. So grateful for all those relationships and that timing. But sometimes maybe it's a higher power or whatnot. They might have a plan for you, but it was pretty, looking back, how things just fell in place at the right time that kind of made this whole thing work.
Mm-hmm. We always tried to stay open and not, we had a general plan, but then we were also able to, when an opportunity came along, we were able to kind of take that curve in the road and follow that as well. And I think that's a big part of our success.
Yeah. Yeah. We jokingly say from time to time, we bounce off enough walls that every now and then we'll hit a door. And luckily we've hit a few doors, yeah.
So along with the retail store in French Lick and the on-sites and the commission work, early on, we knew we had an entertainment aspect to it, that people loved to see what we were doing. So we kind of went that route and sold our shows, sold some entertainment to different venues. And I think the first year we did that, we had like 7 or 8 days. Thought this was big time. We'd made it really big. So now, you fast forward and we're 250 plus show dates a year with a pretty amazing crew that was built along the way. It's grown way past just Jason and I at this point.
Well, and that's a cool thing. Just hitting on what she said, everybody loves the carvings, but they fall in love with them during the process when they could see what it takes effort-wise and tool-wise to make a chainsaw carving. That's where people really fall in love with what we do. So we knew that the show part was a very important part of what we need to do. And it's like she said, that first year we went out to sell a few shows. We got like 7 show dates. We go, wow, I can't believe it. We got 7 show dates. And now we're hitting like 250 plus show dates. We're in 20 plus states in a year, all the way from Oregon to Delaware to New Mexico to North Dakota, doing shows. And so it quickly outgrew what anything that we could possibly do ourselves. So we made wonderful relationships over the years with some dear friends and great carvers, and to say, hey, we got some work. Yeah, you guys interested? And that's kind of where the shows have grown, and that's kind of where Bear Hollow on the road comes from.
Yeah. I think the interesting part along the way, whether it's staff in the store or carvers or any of it that makes the big thing go, like minds just kind of attract, and we've been fortunate that like minds got together and have made Bear Hollow what it is today.
Yeah. And these carvers, they're not just great friends or not just great carvers, but they're great friends and great people, and that's kind of something you got to keep in mind too when you're trying to grow a brand or a logo or something like that. When the people are out there representing you, you are representing a brand. You make sure you put the right people in the right places. And I'll tell you, it's been cool over the years because we talked a little earlier about timing when things work out. That we were great timing for some of them because some of them were on the border of, keeping this a part-time thing or going full-time. So it's been neat seeing all these other friends of ours grow right alongside with us. Yeah.
So we moved the retail store to French Lick in 2010, and it's like everything we did that just really quickly snowballed and evolved. We found out pretty quickly, most people come in to see the carvings and it's cool. But we could offer more. We could make it an area where lots of artists could display their work. So I think currently we're at like 73 different artists, represented in the store. Everything from jewelry, photography, pottery. There's a lot in there to see. We wanted it to be more than just carvings, and it grew to that pretty quickly.
It was all about, once again, relationships. We met these artists and liked what they'd seen, and we've been in tourist towns at this point, with all our travels, and unfortunately you get to some of these places and it's the same stuff in every shop, you know what I mean? And it's all made in Taiwan, China, or somewhere else, It's not the handmade connection with an artist, So that's kind of what we thought about the retail stores is, no, we're not doing the made in China junk, to come in there. We want a relationship with an artist and bring some artwork in, from pottery to jewelry to photography to food products. I mean, you name it, and that's what we felt, was kind of important, and we've been real blessed that people appreciate what we put together.
So right next to Bear Hollow, we have French Licks, which we started in 2016, and it was another one of those things. We just listened to customers asking for a good cup of coffee. Where can I get an ice cream cone? And we were also building out our new location in French Lick there, because we'd moved 5 years into it. We moved to a new spot.
Yeah, we started over what they called like the town green area. There's a nice bar or something in there now. But yeah, we had a 5-year lease here, and then meanwhile the town was redoing the old 5 and Dime building.
Yeah, it was a great spot. Had a great corner spot, and we thought it would be a good fit for us.
Yeah, so when we did move, we about doubled in floor space, so we had a little bit of the extra room. Really had no idea what was in. We had to cut through like a brick wall. Remember that? We had to cut 2 doors through like a foot thick brick wall to find another whole room in the back of the place.
Like a little surprise back there.
It was cool. It was fun. Yeah, to figure it all out. But we ended up with some extra space, and like you said, we were up there building out the Bear Hollow store, and then it's like, man, where can you get I need a coffee. I need to wake me up. I need a coffee. Where can I get a coffee? And there wasn't. I go, somebody needs to open a coffee shop in this place. Somebody needs to open a coffee shop that I can walk to and get a coffee.
And true to our story, Jason was like, let's do that too. And I said, give me a year. I got to at least have a year to get through one build, and then we'll start on the second thing. So it was like a year later, we started the ice cream coffee shop.
And we call it French Licks, and it's been a hit. Follow suit what we did with the Bear Hollow as far as, uniqueness and artisan and things like that. So we felt like we had to seek out an artisan ice cream company, small batch, and we were able to do that with Angie and Woody, and that's been a huge hit. And then we thought the same lines along with the coffee. We just can't just go and get what everybody else is getting. You know what I mean? It had to be unique, and something, if we can, to the area, which the ice cream was to the area. And then luckily we met Joanna, who has got a real neat story at Java Roma over there. In Mitchell, where she was, she did mission trips for years, like through her 20s. And finally she decided that I've got to have a job. I've got to do something. So she's been all these countries where they grow coffee, and so she made contacts with the farmers and whatnot. So she started having beans shipped to her house, and so they're
turned her passion into a business as well.
Our coffee is shipped in to her house just half an hour up the road, and she roasts it, and it's in our coffee shop the next day, and it's been a huge hit. So we've been real fortunate, and it's good to make those connections with other small businesses, because we all grow together.
Yeah, and then shortly after that, we decided French Lick needed a little bit more opportunities for people to be able to get something to eat, and we wanted it to be a quick thing, so we introduced pizza along a few years after that.
Yeah, there was this once again another need, and we happen to have some space there in the back, and so we added the pizza, which has been a hit. It's kind of just like one size. It's kind of quick. It's mean to get in there, get you something to eat, and move on. But the girls have had these specialty pizzas like the taco pizza and the buffalo chicken pizza was a hit. The buffalo chicken ranch, loaded baked potato, jalapeno popper, which has been a hit, and it's been a need in that area where you pop in, get a nice meal quick, and be on your way. And we've been fortunate enough in the meantime to acquire a liquor license as well, so you can get a beer with that pizza, or you can get a shot of bourbon if that's your style in the ice cream shop. So it's
ever evolving.
Yeah, it really is. It's about keeping your ears open and taking advantage of opportunities and growing at a pace that you can survive. Yeah.
And French Licks is kind of a reflection of Bear Hollow. You know, you can go through there and there's carvings everywhere. It's a unique setup. You can sit out on the patio. We've got games on the tables. You know, the whole thing is just, we like people to have a good time. You know, experience the artwork around you, but have a good time. Grab a quick bite to eat, or sit on the patio and have an ice cream cone and look at the big French Lick Resort. It's just a cool spot.
It is a very cool spot.
Keep an eye out for our tour schedule coming out here really soon. We'll start out in March in Arizona.
Yeah, it's cool. And it's Ostrich Festival. We've done it several years in the past, and we could talk about that for a while, but we can't. But it's going to be pretty awesome. So we'll be hitting the road here real quick, and you guys can find all those dates and places we'll be with the whole team, parts of the team. It's really cool. So maybe you guys can check something out, but we'll have that on our website, of course, which is bearhollowwoodcarvers.com, or you can also get on our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You know, we'll be posting some of that stuff as well, or you can kind of just follow us along, you know, on social media, because we'll be posting videos all year long of the places we get to go and check out and see, and some of the antics and good times that we have.
Some behind the scenes as well as, you know, the official side of it.
But like you said, yeah, next month, or here in a couple weeks, I guess, out in Arizona, and then we'll go pretty solid all the way through, like the first weekend in December. We finish up at Christmas Tree Farm, just west of Indianapolis there, which is pretty cool. But yeah, looks like we're going to be about 250, 260 show dates. We're still getting those contracts in those places, so probably here real soon we'll get that posted so everybody can check those dates out. But it's another cool one, man. It's going to be another big season. Kind of the pinnacle of it all is the Block Bash, which happens right there in French Lick, Indiana.
Right outside our doors.
Yeah. Yep. It's always the third weekend in September, so I hate to put dates to it for this year, in case you watch this video, I guess, on another year. But always the third full weekend in September, and then we got the team there. We got all the Bear Hollow Wood Carvers that run out and do shows all year long. We tend to add a couple of internationals in, some folks from overseas that want to come over and do some carving with us. So it's a 3-day weekend, which it's centered around the chainsaw carving. You know, the public has a big 100-foot long tent they can sit on, so they're out of the shade, and then we're all lined up on the outsides of this thing, and everybody just ripping all weekend long. So you can walk up and at any given time and see a carver starting on a piece. You can see a carver halfway through a piece. You can see a carver finishing one up. And then the real cool thing is you can sit there and watch that all weekend, but you got a chance to buy them. We have 2 auctions. There's an auction on Saturday at 5 and on Sunday at 3, where everything that all these artists carved that weekend is available at a live auction. So that's a really cool opportunity to kind of fall in love with the piece and have the chance to take it home the same weekend. But besides that carving, which is cool in itself, we got live bands, we got a beer garden, we got an artisan market, we got food vendors, we got a wine garden, all downtown French Lick. So everything's in walking distance, all the stores, all the shops, the resort, the casinos across the street. So it's a good way to come out, get the full flavor of what we are about, who our carvers are about, and the town French Lick's about, because it's a special little area hidden in the hills of southern Indiana here.
Yeah. And absolutely, you can watch it. You know, if you can't make it, you can watch it on social media. The auction will be live on our Facebook page, and we do a good job of getting that out there, but you know, nothing like seeing it in person.
And no online bids. We tried to do that last year, and there's just too much of a time gap to try to bid on the phone. So if you want to buy a carve, you need to be there that weekend. Take one home.
So if you come to French Lick and you're looking for a great place to stay, whether it's, you know, during the Block Bash, which is a great time of year to visit us, or any other time of the year, you should check out our cabins, French Lick Cabins. It's good reflection of Bear Hollow Wood Carvers.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, we were real lucky to come upon that opportunity. Yeah, we've owned them about 2 years now, and it's been a great addition to what we already do. We love the outdoors. We're outside all the time. It's right on. I mean, you're 400 feet off the Osborne boat ramp. So you can't get closer to Patoka Lake, and Patoka Lake's a 9,000 acre lake. So lots of little fingers, lots of little places to hide, lots of little places to go fish. But we've got 13 cabins there on that site. We've spent probably the first year or so kind of updating everything, fresh paint, doing repairs and adding stairs and all that good stuff. But we've started to incorporate our artwork in the grounds. So we're starting to take some sculptures or some trees that we've had to taken down that have died, and we're turning those into sculptures and moving some of the sculptures inside the cabins on the grounds. But we got a real cool project coming up with a bunch of the Bear Hollow team members. We're going to do, well, it's kind of hard to explain on how much time we got, but it's going to be like a 20-foot tall Sasquatch, and that Sasquatch is sitting down. So if this Sasquatch is standing up, it's like a 40-foot tall piece. It's going to be a big construction piece. Like I said, we're going to have several of the artists in, and we're going to tackle this thing in April, so about a month away.
We're going to have that project going, and also a big installation of some of our other sculptures that we've been, waiting weather-wise and time-wise. But it'll be a cool week to get a bunch of the artists together and get some of this in place. And, that'll be artwork for the guests to take pictures with, to just enjoy for, from here on out. So, you get to book a cabin at French Lick Cabins, and you get to see some pretty cool artwork as well.
Yeah, also check out that project. We're going to be filming it. It's kind of a unique experience to get all those carvers together for a week and see what we come up with. So we'll be sharing that on social media and YouTube and things as well. But if you want to check out those cabins, make sure you get online. You can do it at FrenchLickCabins.net. You can take a virtual tour. You can look at pictures. You can book online, see what availability is, all that good stuff. So. Or it has an Instagram page and a Facebook page as well, so you can check those out too. But it's cool. We feel super blessed to be able to add that part to kind of the Bear Hollow team. It's kind of funny. Our tagline has been from the start was Bear Hollow, Eat, Sleep, Carve, and so now with the carving was what we did forever.
Yeah. Well, the reason behind that, it's Eat, Sleep, Carve. It's what we do. That's what we did for years. It was, we ate, we slept, and we carved, and that was what kind of got this whole thing going, is that kind of dedication and work ethic. But then,
with the eat part, the French Licks, and then the sleep part, the French Lick Cabins, and then the carve part, Bear Hollow. It's kind of wild how that turned out.
Yeah. Putting on the Block Bash is a pretty big undertaking, and we're so thankful and grateful to have such a good crew, all the way from the town support to the town crew helping us out, all the way to our staff. It takes like 75 people to put that thing on. Everybody that's ever almost worked for us ever comes back, helps out. They know it's a big weekend, and we're just blessed to have that kind of help, because it's a big undertaking, and grateful to all those people that make it work. It's way past just Jason and I and our family. It's a big group that makes it happen, and we're very thankful.
Yeah, it's been kind of wild to watch that thing grow over the years. I remember before it was a Block Bash, it was a Fall Fest, and it was at our place here in St. Croix, and we had a crock pot full of hot dogs. Anybody came through to our open house or Fall Fest could get a hot dog. And we had to go back to the store and buy another round of hot dogs. We go, holy shit,
we didn't
man,
quite have enough. We had plenty.
We ran out of hot dogs, man. That was a good show.
Yeah.
But then to see what it's growing into now is just, and there's no way you can take any of the credit, really, or all the credit, or whatever, without sharing it with everyone. It is truly a group effort between, the town crew that helps early and stays late, and the resort, pitches in with some tents and sound equipment and stuff like that, and the town itself letting us shut the streets down, and for the weekend. And then the carvers, you know, they kind of do their thing. You know, you give them a chainsaw and a chunk of wood, and they're gonna run out of wood. But then to pull everything else together, you know, the meals, the help in the store, you know, everything else.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all of that, and typically we got to be cleaned up, you know, unpacked back here at the shop from that show, changed out to the next show, and on the road by Tuesday. So it's a big whirlwind.
It's beyond anything we could do it ourselves or in-house. So we're quite grateful for that every year, and it's been fun seeing the kids and their friends. Of course, our kids have grown up through this, so they've been around it and seen it for a lot of years. But it's all their friends coming back. You know what I mean? That were friends in grade school or high school or whatnot, maybe different parts of the state or the country now, but they all seem to come back that weekend and ready to pitch in a helping hand. Yeah, so that's pretty awesome.
You can check out Bear Hollow and our travels on any of our social media channels, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You know, we'll keep you updated on all the cool stuff we get to do in a year's time.